Easy Patreon. So in this video, we're gonna look at wavetable synthesis. So we're gonna have a look at wavetables from Ableton. We're gonna have a look at Serum and Massive from Native Instruments. And while we're looking at those 3 different synths, I'm just gonna kind of show you how to make pads, basically. How to kind of just like, make them sound nice and thick. How to make them have a bit of movement and a bit of character to it. And also just like some other techniques and ideas you can kind of do, like resampling, just to add a little bit more kind of, your own touch to your own pads. So in front of me, I kind of suggest to anyone, no matter what DAW you're using, just to make different templates for your different processes, whether it's like a template for one style of music you're making, or whether it's a template for, sound design and synthesis. So in front of me, this is my template for when I'm making sounds from scratch. I've got up a few different plugins that I use regularly, and just some audio tracks just for whenever I'm resampling them. So let's start off with wavetables from Ableton, and I haven't really got like something just set in mind. I'm just gonna kind of just show you my thought process and just how I kind of make something from the ground up, which I end up might be putting in a track or something. So I kind of feel that like with most pads, they always sound better when you play chords. So I might just quick record. Whoop. Might quick record a chord, and then we could take it from there. Okay, that'll do. Right, quick record that in. Nice, there we go. So I'm just gonna quickly loop that up. And let's start with our chord. So anyone who may not have used this before, this is like Ableton's new wavetable kind of instrument. This kind of came out with their Ableton 10 update. And this is kind of like pretty similar to Serum if you use that regularly. So, whoops. So just a quick overview of just what's in front of me right now. So here's your different oscillators. So oscillator 1, oscillator 2, your sub oscillator, your 3 different envelopes, your 2 LFOs. You have your matrix panel here, your 2 filters, and you also have like your volume, your poly control, glide, and your unison. So pretty simple. So whenever I'm making any sound, whenever I'm making any patch, the first thing I like to do is just shape my amp envelope. I do this first just so that I kind of get what that sound is meant to sound like over time first, and then after that it's just dialing everything into taste. So I'm gonna just add like a medium to long attack because we're making a pad, and then the same with the release. Nice. I kind of liked how it dipped a little bit. I might bring the sustain down just a touch and just increase the decay. Nice, cool. So that is pretty much a pad on a basic level. So anything from here onwards is just more down to your taste, to your style. So let's have a little look through our different wavetable. So I might go for an instrument. That sounds pretty cool. I'm gonna turn on my second oscillator. Let's go for retro. See what we have. Or maybe vintage. Like a saw wave or something. Cool, that sounds pretty cool. So now it's time to add a bit of movement to it. So to do that, we need to use our matrix panel. So what I might do, I might add an envelope to the position of our wavetable, and I might add an LFO to the position of this wavetable. So if I give that just a little click, that will kind of pop up, oscillate at one position, and now I can use either one of my envelopes to map to it. So I'm going to use envelope 2. I'll turn that up. There we go. So I'm just going to add a bit of a tap to it. I'm going to bring up the sustain. Maybe I might add just a little release, and I might even turn this into a loop just so it almost acts like an LFO. Bring that attack up again. Cool. Might even bring the sustain down a touch. Cool, that'll do. And with this, I'm gonna add LFO to it. So let's get LFO 1. So again, I just gave that a little click, and now we can kind of see it on our matrix panel. So every time you click something new, you kind of see it highlight. So if I touch this, now it's saying, whoops. Now it's saying envelope 2 attack. So let's do this, get LFO 1. So that's a little bit extreme. So I'm going to bring the amount down, and I'm just going to make the rate a little bit slower. Usually whenever I'm kind of modulating like a pad or something with an LFO, more time I kind of like to have it as rate rather than it sync to the BPM, just so that it kind of has more of a like kind of analog feel, and it can just be just like, yeah, sometimes it's a little bit off, but it just feels a little bit more human. It just feels a little bit more different compared to something which is just always in sync and always on beat. So I just brought that rate down. I might offset it just a touch, and I might change the shape a bit. So what I might do, nice, so it's a bit subtler. Cool. Just bring our attack up a bit more. So what I might do as well, I might even use the amp envelope to affect this as well. So if I bring that up. And I might use the LFO2 to change LFO1's shape so that it does a bit more of that rather than just staying still. And this again will just add a little bit more character to it. So I'll turn that up. Just turn that down a touch. There we go, nice. So I might detune this a touch. So I might bring this up about 9 cents, bring this down 9 cents. Cool. And let's get our frequency cutoff moving as well. So I'm going to use maybe the amp envelope, just bring that up a touch. Bring this down a bit, just so that it's not so extreme. Cool. And might do the same with the resonance, just even less. And I'm also going to change my filter type just so I've got a bit of drive to it. Bring the drive down a touch. Could even add a little unison. The shimmer always sounds pretty good. Bring that down a touch. And there we go, like that's a pretty half decent pad. You know, you can kind of take it to another level if you wanted to, if you wanted to add some effects to it. So you could even use maybe like modern or something, and you can start like folding it and it just gets a little bit more glitchy. But we kind of want this not to sound too screechy. So, in fact, classic one sound like. We're gonna stick with the classic. So after this, now, as you do, you slap on a reverb. This Denise Perfect Plate is pretty cool. One reverb I do definitely like to use is the Native Instruments, if I can find it. Native Instruments. ROM. So this was a free download at some point, and it just sounds really nice. It just makes everything just sound really airy and fluffy. So I think the frequency cutoff is just a little bit high, so I'll bring that down a touch. There we go. So now we've got a decent pad. So that's just me playing this like a single key. Cool, there you go, and it's as easy as that. And we're pretty much just going to do the same thing with Serum. So if I open that up now, let's just use the same MIDI clip. So Serum, that's a bit loud. So yeah, we've got our saw wave here. So let's just pretty much do the same thing. It's just like, it's one of those kind of things is once you kind of like work out where everything is, you can just start applying these techniques, what you just saw me do with Wavetable, to almost any synth. And we're using pads as an example, but this also goes with if you start making leads, if you're making basses, you know, any kind of sound you want to make. It's all about just kind of just recognizing what's what, where it is, and in the moment that penny drops, you can just start creating some amazing sounds. So let's just do the same thing again for all you Serum users out there. So let's just shape our amp envelope first. So I'm gonna add a bit of attack and some release. A bit more. I'm going to bring the sustain down again. Move the K down a touch. Nice, there we go. Could even bring the release up a touch. Cool. So, again, it's all just down to taste. Let's see what we have here. I might even, no, in fact, I'm going to use something different. Cool. Okay, that's got a few different shapes to it. In fact, what's this one? do. And vowels. What's this choir one? Okay. Ba, 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 ba. That's pretty cool. Right, so we use these two. So same sort of thing. Let's get some LFOs and some envelopes on these things. So I'm gonna add envelope 2 to this wave position. Just gonna bring that down a touch. And let's shape that so we have a bit of attack, a bit of a release. Bring the sustain down a touch. More attack to this. And then use the same envelope on this one as well, but I won't have it going all the way, just bring that down. Could even bring that up a touch. Cool, nice. And I'm gonna add a bit of unison to this. Just bring the blend down a touch. Fuck it, why not? Do the same to this one. But I'm just gonna make this one a bit tighter. Cool. Right. And now, so on our filter, you can kind of decide which oscillator you're sending to it. So at first it was just only A highlighted. So I'll just make sure I've got A and B selected so that both of these oscillators are going through my filter. So I'm just gonna, again, shape this. So I'm gonna use envelope 3 for this. Attack. What a really long attack. Just bring that down a touch. Nice, slowly getting there. Might actually just keep that lower down, but just add a bit more drive to it. Cool. And again, that was pretty quick. So same sort of thing. Pretty much made my pads. Again, this is just a quick, simple one. Let's use this perfect plate. And just add a bit more to the tail. Let's bring that buzz down, add a bit, just a little bit of drive to it. Nice. Make it slow and just make it a bit bright. Cool. So again, so now we've just got another quick little pad. I kind of find that like sometimes when you go down to like the lower register, like maybe just like 2-note chords, kind of sound a bit better. And it's as easy as that. So lastly, let's do the same with massive. All you massive users out there, hardcore. I almost kind of feel like sometimes I'm the last one that still use it. And then after this, I'll kind of show you just some other kind of techniques you could kind of use, again, just to kind of add a little bit more character and a little bit more uniqueness to your pads. So let's just open that up a bit. I'm going to do a new sound. So let's use the same chord. Let's bring that down. So yeah, any of you, if you haven't used Massive before, this is what it looks like. It's not like the most attractive synth out of all of them, but it's still powerful and you can still make loads of wicked sounds out of it. In fact, what I might do with Massive, I'm going to do a slightly different pad for this. So I'm just going to record one note. Cool. And then what I'm going to show you is how to kind of like almost make a chord. So you can do like a 1-finger chord. So again, any kind of sound I'm making, go straight to my amp envelope and shape that. With Massive, your amp envelope is 4. So let's just add a bit more attack to that. Let's bring our sustain down just a touch. Just add a bit more release. Cool. There we go, sorted. So let's just find some random wavetables. That's pretty cool. Let's find one for oscillator 2. See what that sounds like. Not sure about that. What's this one? We'll use a saw. And for our last oscillator, let's go for cool. That will do. So what I'm going to do now, if I turn all the oscillators on, I'm going to change the pitch. So this is going to be our root. I'm going to change this one to 5, this to 7. So now we're technically getting a chord. So that I can play just like single keys. And straight away we're getting like a nice thick sound without having to play chords itself. So if you're somebody who is not clued up on music theory, I know that I'm not. My music theory is on a basic level. You could do tricks like this to kind of almost just like, start getting some chords in without having to like play them yourself. So as long as you stick to a key, you'll be fine. So, bam, 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 bam. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to send all of this to filter 1. Again, there's just quick knocking out a quick pad for this. And we're going to start adding some movement. So we can use envelopes, LFOs. It's almost just like repeat the same thing. You saw me do this with Wavetable, you saw me do it with Serum, so I'm going to pretty much do a very similar thing. Let's just use like an envelope for our Wavetable position here. So I just drop that down, I then click and raise that. Let's just use like an LFO for this. In fact, I'll go the other way. And why not? Let's just use the LFO for this one as well. I'm gonna do that. So I'm just gonna turn the rate down on these. And whoop. Random steps. Bending. Just use like a random. And also, so you kind of like your curve fader. So this is kind of going in between 2 different LFOs, 2 different wave shapes. So I might even just go, just to add a little bit more weirdness to it, I might leave that in the middle, but then add an LFO to that, so that it kind of goes in between the 2. And then this just adds even more kind of weirdness and character to it. So I'm just going to make sure that that's on sign. I'm going to bring that rate down as well. Could even just bring that up a touch. And like sometimes you might notice it's not like really extreme, but this is how you can slowly start getting like that kind of analog feel, as I was kind of saying, just like those unpredictable kind of moments within your sound. Nice. In fact, I'm gonna add a bit more tat to that, and I'm just gonna bring that even higher up. And I'm gonna also detune this as well. Add some unison to it. Turn that on. Just bring that up just a touch. Bring that down a touch. Let's get our filter in there, still a little bit bright. So I'm just going to use a simple low pass. So let's get an envelope on this, so that comes up. And then I'm going to use a different envelope for our resonance. So resonance is going to have a higher attack, and then this one, just a normal attack. And just make sure I just add a bit of release to both of these. I think that needs more release. Bring you up a bit. think it's that. There it is. I kept hearing that almost kind of like knocking sound. But I think it was envelope 1, so just add a little bit more release onto that. And then, you know, like I could even just use the built-in reverb, to be fair. Out of it. Bit of chorus. Very Tron-like. Cool. So let's go back to our wavetable one. And I'm going to quickly record in something, and then we'll just add a little bit more character to it. There we go. Cool. So what I might do, I might get my EQ. Let's turn this into a group. And I'm going to add an LFO to this. And I'm going to create 3 LFOs actually. Cool. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use these LFOs to just like make this EQ go a little bit nuts. So let's map this one, this frequency cut off. And let's map this last one to you. In fact, I did that wrong. I don't want it to be frequency, I want it to be gain. 100. Cool. Let's get your frequency back up. It's all going a bit nuts. And then what we'll do with you, we'll make you have a bandpass. So I'll just map you to there as well. Cool. Right, so I'm going to start dialing in this because it's all a bit nuts right now. So let's make this all kind of make sense. So our range on my LFO is 0 to 100. So I'm going to kind of change that because I don't want it to go all the way to the end. So I'm going to bring this down to like maybe 30%, 120, not too bad, 30, that's cool. I'm going to bring the rate down as well. And I'm going to add a little jitter to it. Maybe a bit less, just so it ain't all over the gaff. Cool. Okay, there we go. So let me turn this one on, our bandpass. Same sort of thing. I'm going to bring this down. I'll just bring that up. I just want it to be around in the middle. I'm gonna bring the rate down a touch. Nice. And then I'm gonna do the same with this. Bring down the amount. I want it to kind of go up, but I don't want it to go all the way down. Nice, that's cool. And then again, just bring the rate down. And I might even, you know what? I'm gonna add another one. Why not? And I'm gonna map that to our last parameter. Map it to you. I'm gonna have the gain up. So we get even more of a sweeping. So that's cool. I'm gonna offset some of these. And I'm trying to make sure that they're not all at the same rate. Might even make you slower. And the sign, I might even change it to a triangle. Cool. So let's hear how that sounds. Let's hear how that sounds now on my pad. So in case you couldn't tell the difference, I'm gonna bypass this. So here's my pad. And now here is it with this EQ with loads of LFOs on it. And do you know what? To be fair, so the top sweep, so this one, number 2, I feel like it's just a little bit extreme. I might even change the Q on it. So you can definitely hear the sweeping. It's not as subtle, and that might be something you might like. You might like the fact that, like, yeah, that sweeping's going on. And obviously, if you're playing that in, that's just gonna keep on going on in the background. And that's pretty cool. That's adding, again, some movement to our pads. And what you can do, if you wanted to take it a step further, you could freeze it. So in Ableton, you would freeze it. In Logic, you would do like a bounce in place. So I'll just grab that and drop it down. So now I've got a version including all the sweeps that my LFO was doing. And then I might even, I might even transpose this down an octave. Let's have a quick listen. So I'm going to transpose it, and I'm going to, I'm going to freeze this again, just so that it keeps that setting, and I'm just going to flatten it. And now I'm going to, instruments, simpler, sampler, whatever you use. I'm going to put this in there, and then just make sure I play it octave higher. So that's a bit quiet. So now our pad sounds slightly different because Yeah, because of the way we kind of just warped it a little bit. And it would have kept, so you might get like the way that Ableton kind of changed the settings when I pitched it down. We're going to slightly hear those artifacts a little bit, and it changes the character again that little bit more. So I could even just take that now. Again, just add some attack, add some release. Just bring in. And then maybe, you know, I could even just add a sustain mode. Bring that in there. Use that, use a crossfade as well. So it's going to be pretty obvious, just because of all the movement we've been adding, it's not going to loop up as well. However, you know, you might find something pretty cool. So now we're almost kind of getting into granular. Can even just add a bit more. Well, that's the most crossfade I'm gonna get. And then, why not add some reverb again, just to glue it over a bit more and see what happens. There you go. And with some pads, what I do, I might even take that, plug it into my patch bay, and then just send it through my delay, go crazy with my delay, just like keep just like fucking around with the controls, bounce that in place, and then kind of blend the two together, and then that even adds some more character. So even could, as an example, so unfreeze that. So let's have a listen. So even if dotted, I'm going to change that to milliseconds. And I'm just going to quickly map this to hopefully it'll work. Cool. It's my mix, milliseconds, and feedback. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna do like an example with this. So usually, like I said, I would use my pedal, but what I would do sometimes, if I create a new track and whoops, resample it. So it's getting audio from here. And then, yeah, just kind of go nuts with, the delay. If I was recording, so let's just quickly record something. Cool, that'll do. And I'll just quickly just stretch this out. So in fact we've got the full thing, nice. And then, like I said, in some cases I would just blend between the two. But this is something which, you know, you could keep yourself and you might even end up resampling it. And there we go. There's like, yeah, a few ideas. So what we kind of covered, just as a recap, just when it comes to sound design, it ain't as complicated as some people make it out to be. And as you kind of saw, I was able to kind of knock out 3 different pads using 3 different synths, just using the same approach, shaping my ADSR first, adding a little bit of movement using envelopes and LFOs, and then a bit of reverb, and there you go, you got yourself a half decent pad. And, you know, using that mentality, you could, like I said, you could use the same approach to make a bass, to make leads, just shaping the main kind of parameters of your instrument or your synth first, and then the rest, like I said, is just all down to taste, and you can end up creating some really kind of cool sounds. And yeah, when it comes to pads, I kind of think that, you know, movement is key. And I kind of say that about a lot of patches, to be honest. It kind of helps separate your sounds from other people's. And yeah, you know, adding a bit of reverb, adding some more movement if you want, using EQs and LFOs. And if you wanted to go and add another type of movement, just like record yourself just fucking around with the delay. Or you could just use like a reverb instead and just like fuck around with the reverb controls. You know, the options are endless. So again, thanks for kind of like, tuning in, and I hope this is useful. And, you know, if you guys have any questions, feel free to send me a message. Take care.